We finally did it, guys. After 25 years, we finally got a sequel to Space Jam. Now, we've been waiting a long time for a Space Jam sequel. Heck, I've just been waiting for a long time for any movie with the Looney Tunes characters in it. Clearly, I have the two Space Jam steelbooks. They're the exact same, but I have two of them. Don't ask why. Back in Action is the last movie we got with the Looney Tunes characters, and it is awesome. I'm not really going to go into detail about that movie, but I would highly recommend, just if you have any opportunity or chance to rewatch it or watch it for the first time, I highly recommend it. It's a great movie. Now, Warner Brothers has tried to make sequels to Space Jam, or really any movie with the Looney Tunes characters in it, but because Back in Action did so poorly in the box office, the Looney Tunes characters really never saw the light of day, at least in a movie theater. To me, it seems like the studio doesn't really care about these characters, and they even kind of make a point about that in this movie.
Pete, send this clown to the rejects.
Wait!
And he's basically right, because Warner Brothers will not touch these characters unless it's for a TV show on Cartoon Network or Boomerang or HBO Max, wherever they put them. This time, instead of Michael Jordan teaming up with the Looney Tunes, we have LeBron James. I remember a few years into James' professional career, people were saying, this is the guy. This is the guy to go for Space Jam 2. And it's been teased for a long time. There were a lot of fan posters. Basically, James has teased about it, and then we finally got it. There have been a few directors that were attached for this movie. Justin Lin was the original person that was going to helm this movie. Justin Lin has done a couple of the Fast and Furious movies, so that would have been interesting to see. However, we ended up with Malcolm Lee as our director, which is not a bad choice. I do like Undercover Brother and Girls Trip. Now, we've been waiting for a long time for this sequel. Is it as good as the first one? I mean, no, but I still enjoyed it, I'm not gonna lie. The thing about the original Space Jam is the Toons need to play basketball. Michael Jordan helps them. Bill Murray shows up. Elmer Fudd does the Michael Jordan slam dunk. It's beautiful. It's art. I love it. It's straight to the point, and there's nothing deep about it. A New Legacy is trying to tell a story about a father and son relationship. To simply put it, there's a message about being yourself. It's about family, which would have actually fit a Justin Lin movie. There are also some comments about like surveillance systems. There's nothing really too deep about it. They definitely mention about it. Now, for a story that is more complicated than the original one, I will try my best not to go too much into the details of the plot, but I feel like I will bring up a lot of points. But anyway, here's what we have. Don Cheadle plays an AI named Al G. Rhythm. That is his name. That's his real name in this movie. He steals LeBron James' son. The only way for James to get his son back is through a game of basketball, which is interesting. You could have put him in any other situation, but all right, basketball, I guess. James is sent to the Looney Tunes world because Don Cheadle thinks you can't find a team that way. Bugs is the only person in the Toons world, so James and Bugs Bunny have to find the other Toons characters to make a basketball team and win his son. All right, that might actually seem like a lot, but I promise you that is just scratching the surface. All right, so pros. So where do I begin? It's cool to see 2D animation in the theater. And I won't lie, there's a good proportion of the movie that is 2D. It's not as short as they make it seem. I wish there was a little bit more of 2D, but with what we got, I can't complain too much. Even when the Looney Tunes characters turn into 3D models, basically, that didn't even look bad. You could see the fur pretty well, feathers, and all of that. The detail on that is pretty good. There is one CGI character that shows up later in the third act. If you've seen the movie, you know who I'm talking about, and it is bad. It is really bad. It looks unfinished. It is like on the same level of the Scorpion King from the Mummy movie. It's like that bad. It is not gonna age well. I promise you, it already hasn't aged well, and it's been out for like 2 weeks. The biggest complaint from a lot of people is that this movie is basically another marketing scheme for Warner Brothers IP. All of their properties, all of the movies, franchises, everything. We've seen it done before with the Lego movie, which I think handles it the best. We've also seen it with Ready Player One. I guess you can count Scoob also, because they do a lot of Hanna-Barbera characters. But anyway, this one is really in your face, and hey, look at the characters that we own. This one's really into that type of stuff. And it's not just the basketball game where, you know, the characters are in the background and they're like cheering and watching the game. No, there is a montage of Bugs and James where they go find their Toons characters, and these characters are in Warner Brothers movies, properties. Now, it is clearly Warner Brothers just showing off what they have and putting these characters into it, which I think would have worked better, not in a movie, maybe as like a little like comedy short if they treated it like an old Looney Tunes cartoon. The Animaniacs do stuff like this, even some of the old Looney Tunes cartoons do this, and it just doesn't feel like that for the most part. I think the only one that felt the most creative, maybe not even the most creative, the only one I was like entertained or interested with that I thought fit these characters was the Mad Max scene. Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner are in it. I thought it fit pretty well for them. I also feel like most of the stuff in that montage are things that kids are not going to get. The Wonder Woman and the DC segment was kind of cool that the kids will like, but I mean, there's an Austin Powers and Casablanca scene. I'm sure kids don't know what that is. If you know a kid that knows Casablanca or Austin Powers, like, comment, and subscribe. I know kids' movies can try to appeal to adults as well. However, adults already don't like this movie. So what's the point of even trying to make this appeal to kids? It appealed to me at times though. So, you know, this is it's a mixed bag for me. Now, kids will probably not think that stuff is funny, which is okay, because I didn't really think this movie was that funny. Some of the jokes are relied on other properties like that scene, and also some of the jokes that the Toons have don't entirely seem like they fit that character. The scene where they like try to play basketball, they kind of do some of their own little shticks, but it's really short. It goes by pretty fast. And then in the actual basketball game, that doesn't really happen again, except for Wile E. Coyote. He's the only one that does stuff that fits his character, personality, humor. But some of these jokes that the Toons have feel like stuff that they wouldn't even say. Especially the granny. That granny is definitely some like adult writing trying to make kids laugh. Not a lot of jokes overstay their welcome, which is pretty good. There is one scene that goes on a bit too long. Probably the best scene also for some people, which is the notorious PIG scene. Kids loved it. Some people that were in my theater that were definitely under the influence enjoyed that scene. Look how happy LeBron is in this scene. I wish I was smiling that much during the movie. There was one cameo in this movie, or as I like to call it, a space jameo, that I thought was clever, and I thought it actually was funny. Whoever wrote that scene, I will give them credit for that. That was good. But what's not good is LeBron's acting. This is not shocking at all though. I really wasn't expecting much. I mean, I can't even tell you if he's actually trying or if he just doesn't care. Michael Jordan's acting isn't good in the first movie, but I don't know. There's just something weird about James's acting. There's just something off about it. Zendaya is Lola the Bunny, and she's fine. The movie doesn't give her a whole lot at all. Lola doesn't really have any like quirky characteristics or any speech impediments like a bunch of the other characters, so anybody could have been fine, and it did not bother me. She was fine. Some people will not even notice it was her. The biggest star that really gave their all, other than the Toon characters, was Don Cheadle. When he makes his first appearance, it does feel like he's in a different movie, because the first, I don't know, 20-25 minutes it feels like is really just LeBron James in like the real world. But I'm serious, like, he is entertaining, he is having a blast. It's kind of like Jim Carrey in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Like, it's not a good movie, but he's giving it his all and he is entertaining. It's not even like he's self-aware. He's really just giving it 100%, and that's why he's awesome. I will support him for the Oscar this year. Cheadle, if you're watching this, like, shout out to you. Now, Cheadle's acting might be the best part, but this character's plan, like, does not make sense. This is probably where I'm gonna have to go more into the detail, but it's really bothering me. I have to talk about it. Okay, so we learn that in this movie, the first Space Jam is canonical. It was a thing. They reference it plenty of times. So this means that the Toons have played a basketball game saved their planet, world. So if all of this has happened, why would Cheadle send LeBron James, a professional top-tier basketball player, to a world where this literally happened 25 years ago? Like, the exact same thing happened. Why would he do that? This is literally what happened in the first one. He should have known better. Also, later on, as Cheadle gets ready to start this basketball game, he does a live stream, and basically all the humans that are watching this live stream, they somehow get sucked into this world and they're watching the game. And then Cheadle decides, like, you know what? If James loses the basketball game, everyone's gonna stay here. I don't really know why. I don't think Cheadle ever really explained, like, oh, I hate the outside world or whatever. At least I don't remember, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I'm assuming it was just to raise the stakes for the game. That's all I'm assuming. I also have to give praise to the voice actors in this movie. I feel like they were not getting the amount of credit that they deserve for these characters. Jeff Bergman plays Bugs, Sylvester, Yosemite Sam. You can't even really tell the difference between any of them. They don't sound like the same person. And Erica Bauza, I hope I said that right, does Daffy, Elmer Fudd, Porky, Foghorn Leghorn, and Marvin the Martian. Again, you can't even really tell the difference between any of these voices. They sound like they are from like completely different people. I think it's awesome. They did a great job with what they got. I wish there was more for them, but what can you expect? Alright, this movie is something. The acting was bad, minus Cheadle, who looked like he was really trying, and he definitely helped bring up the energy in this movie. The voice acting is pretty awesome. Zendaya is fine. It's really Bergman and Bauza that I have to give credit to. They did a really good job on bringing out their characters' personalities, even though the script was like kind of holding them back a little bit, but they did the best they could. The movie relies on pretty much everything else that Warner Brothers owns, and it's pretty annoying to see it for like the third or fourth time, and they're not even used cleverly. This makes a lot of the jokes not work out for me, and it underutilizes the personalities and characteristics of the Looney Tunes characters. It's clear to me, you can see where the Warner Brothers studio got involved and where the actual like writing stuff happened, where they were actually trying to tell a story. The story and the development for our characters are there. It's not really deep though. They tried though. They really tried. And some people will say they're just happy they got a Space Jam sequel. And you know what? I'm one of them. This movie is not that great, but I will see it again someday. I promise you. I was entertained by this movie. I already knew to lower my standards for this movie. The trailer showed us exactly what we were gonna get, and this is exactly what I expected. It's just a cash grab showing every single character that's ever been made by Warner Brothers, and that's about it. They just watch a basketball game. Like, I knew this was gonna happen. I'm shocked Harry Potter didn't like show up and join the Looney Tunes squad and like fucking do a magic trick to score a point. I was really shocked they didn't do that. I was really thinking they were gonna have Warner Brothers characters join the actual team like at the end. But I mean, you can clearly tell it's not like Martin Scorsese level of filmmaking. It's just LeBron playing basketball and like Bugs playing point guard. I don't know. This is nothing crazy. And people will use the excuse of saying, well, it's a kids movie. It's okay for it to be bad. And you know what? There are a lot of bad kids movies. This is not a good kids movie, but there are plenty of great kids movies that are very entertaining for kids and for adults, and they're just well-rounded in general. This movie's not one of them though. You can clearly tell this is a movie made to distract a kid for 2 hours. This movie is 2 hours also. That's way too long. I'm just starting to rant now. Now, will we get a Space Jam 3? That I don't know. I'm down for it though. Malcolm D. Lee said, if he does a third one, put The Rock in there. Now that would be not a very good movie. That would be a way more entertaining movie because The Rock is just a way better actor than James anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I ranted a while, but it's up to you whether you think you should see it or not. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10, which is honestly higher than what a lot of people are going to give it, but you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna see it again. I bet you I will get a steelbook with them on it. I actually forgot to mention about this in my notes. Here I go again talking about like the plot of the movie. but they have a meeting with LeBron James. The studio is like, James, we're gonna put you in all of our IP. We're gonna put you in Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, DC. We're gonna put you in everything. And then James is like, no guys, I'm not doing that. This is not a creative thing. You guys are better than this. Except I delivered that better than James. They're aware of that this is not a creative thing that they're doing, showing all of their IP. And then they do it for 90 minutes. That's just something I realized. I forgot to mention. You know what? I changed that. I'm gonna give it like a 4.6 out of 10. Never mind. You know what? A 4.5. But yeah, all right. I'm done now. I'm done ranting. You know what? You know what? 4 out of 10. That's the last one. 4 out of 10. Not a good movie, but I still am entertained by it. I will watch it again eventually. All right, I'm done now. So anyway, that's my review of Space Jam: A New Legacy. Let me know if you saw the movie, if you liked it, if you hated it. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Let me know what I should review next. If you like what you see, please, like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want. Make sure you exercise every day and drink your milk unless you're lactose intolerant, and have a great day. All right, bye.